Let me ask you something. The person you are right now, the way you talk, the way you react, the things you say you value, the person you introduce yourself as, how much of that is actually you? And how much of it is just a character you started playing so long ago, you forgot you were acting? Because here is what nobody tells you. Most men never meet themselves. They meet the version of themselves their parents expected, the version their friends reinforced, the version their failures convinced them they were, the version their comfort zone slowly carved them into. And then they spend their entire life defending that version, protecting it, building a life around it. Never once asking, is this actually me? Epictetus, a man born into slavery who had everything taken from him and still became the most psychologically free person in any room he entered, said this: "Man is not disturbed by events, but by the opinions he holds about events." And the most dangerous opinion a man can hold? The false story he tells himself about who he is. Because if you don't know who you are, you cannot build what you are meant to build. You cannot make decisions aligned with what you actually value. You cannot become who you are capable of becoming. You are just running a program written by everyone except you. And it is destroying everything. Chapter 1. The Identity You Inherited. Daniel is 31 years old. He describes himself the same way. He has described himself since he was 19. I'm not really a creative person. I work better under pressure. I'm not someone who enjoys routine. I've never been good at finishing things. He says these things casually, confidently, like facts, like biology. But here is the question nobody ever asked him. Where did those beliefs come from? The creative one. A teacher told him his work wasn't original when he was 14. He believed her. He stopped creating. He told himself the story so many times, it became his identity. The pressure one? He procrastinated through school, got results anyway. Told himself pressure was his process, rather than admitting avoidance was his habit. The finishing one. 3 failed attempts at the same goal. Not because he couldn't finish, because he never examined why he stopped. He just added it to the character description. None of these are facts about Daniel. They are stories Daniel collected from moments he never examined and wore like permanent clothing ever since. The Stoics called this prosauche, the practice of self-attention, the disciplined examination of every belief you hold about yourself to determine whether it is truth or inherited fiction. Epictetus made it the foundation of everything. First say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. But you cannot say what you would be if you have never questioned what you currently are. It's question for you. Name one belief you hold about yourself. Now ask, where did that belief actually come from? Chapter 2. The Mirror Nobody Looks Into. There is a mirror every man has access to. It costs nothing. It requires no equipment. It is available at any moment. And almost no one looks into it. Not the bathroom mirror, not the reflection in someone else's opinion. The mirror of your own actions. Because your actions do not lie. Your words lie constantly. Your intentions lie beautifully. Your self-image lies with complete sincerity. But what you repeatedly do, what you choose when no one is watching, what you reach for when things get difficult, that is the truth of who you are right now. Not who you want to be, not who you tell people you are, not who you were 3 years ago, who you are right now. Marcus Aurelius used this mirror every single day. He called it the practice of examining impressions, the discipline of looking at your own reactions, your own choices, your own patterns, and asking with cold honesty, is this the man I want to be? Not the man I think I am, the man I want to be. Because most men never ask that question. They assume the man they think they are and the man they want to be are the same person. They are almost never the same person. The gap between them, that specific distance between who you think you are and who your actions are proving you to be, that gap is where your life is being lost. Every day you don't examine it. Every day you protect the false self-image instead of confronting it. The gap grows, and the man you could have been gets further away. Chapter 3. The self you perform versus the self you are. Every man performs two versions of himself. The public self, the one that shows up to work, the one that speaks in social situations, the one that posts, presents, and represents. And the private self, the one that exists at 2 a.m. when the performance is over, the one that knows what was avoided today, the one that feels the gap between who you presented yourself as and who you actually were. Most men spend their entire lives making sure the public self is convincing enough that no one, including themselves, looks too closely at the private one. Seneca saw this everywhere. It is not that I am brave. It is that I know what matters and what does not. The man who knows himself does not need the public performance to be more impressive than the private reality. Because he has closed the gap, not perfectly, not permanently, but deliberately, daily, honestly. Daniel sits at his desk after everyone has left. The performance is over. The version of himself he presented today sits beside the version that actually existed. And in the quiet, for the first time, he looks at both, not with judgment, not with shame, with the cold, honest interest of a man who has decided he would rather know the truth about himself than maintain a comfortable fiction. And that decision, quiet, private, completely unglamorous, is the beginning of actually knowing who you are. Chapter 4. What self-knowledge actually requires. Here is where most men get it wrong. They think self-knowledge means sitting with a journal, identifying their personality type, taking a test that tells them they are an introvert or an achiever or a peacemaker. And they carry that label like a hall pass that excuses everything. I'm just not a morning person. I'm an introvert. Social situations drain me. I'm a perfectionist. That's why I haven't started. This is not self-knowledge. This is self-labeling. And it is the most dangerous form of self-deception because it feels exactly like wisdom. Real Stoic self-knowledge is not comfortable. It does not hand you a label and let you rest. It asks, is this trait serving you or limiting you? Is this pattern chosen or inherited? Is this who you are or who you became by default? Marcus Aurelius did not examine himself to discover what type of person he was. He examined himself to determine whether who he was becoming was who he intended to be. Every single morning, without exception, without comfort, without the relief of a convenient label. This is the practice, not insight, not understanding, not a personality framework. Daily ruthless examination of the gap between your intentions and your actions, between your values and your choices, between the man you claim to be and the man your behavior is building. That examination, sustained without flinching, is the only path to knowing yourself that the Stoics considered real. Chapter 5. The moment you actually meet yourself. Daniel has a conversation he has been avoiding for months, not with anyone else, with himself. He sits in the quiet, no phone, no content, no comfortable noise. And he asks the question he has been running from. Who am I, actually? Not who do I want to be, not who do I tell people I am, not who did I used to be. Who am I right now? Proven by what I do when no one is watching? The answers are uncomfortable. He is someone who avoids difficult conversations, someone who starts and fades, someone who knows what he values, but consistently chooses against it, someone who is more afraid of being seen clearly than of failing to become what he is capable of. He sits with this, not to punish himself, not to spiral into self-criticism, but to finally, for the first time, see himself accurately. Because you cannot change what you refuse to see. You cannot build on a foundation you have never examined. You cannot become who you are meant to be while defending who you mistakenly think you already are. Epictetus called this the first and greatest work. Know thyself, not as a philosophical exercise, as the daily practice of a man who takes his own life seriously enough to look at it honestly. Last chapter, the man who finally knows himself. Weeks later. Daniel is different, not visibly, not dramatically, but in the way that matters most. He no longer says, "I'm not a creative person." He says, "I have been avoiding creativity because I am afraid of being judged." He no longer says, "I work better under pressure." He says, "I have been using pressure as an excuse to avoid the discipline of beginning." He no longer says, "I've never been good at finishing things." He says, "I have been stopping at the exact moment discomfort arrives and calling it a character trait to avoid examining the pattern." The stories have not disappeared, but they are no longer mistaken for facts. They are patterns he can now see. And what you can see, you can change. He walks into situations differently, not because he became a different person, because he finally met the person he already was. And meeting yourself honestly, seeing yourself without the armor, without the performance, without the inherited stories dressed as personality, is the most radical act of self-improvement any man can undertake. Because everything else, the discipline, the habits, the goals, the growth, is built on this foundation. And without this foundation, everything you build will eventually collapse back into the person you never examined. Epictetus gave his students one assignment above all others. Not a reading list, not a practice schedule, not a philosophical framework. One question, to be asked every day, in complete honesty, without defense. Who am I becoming? Not who am I, not who was I, not who do I want to be. Who am I becoming, right now, through the choices I am making today? Because identity is not fixed. It is not discovered once and kept forever. It is built or destroyed, one choice at a time, one avoided conversation at a time, one comfortable story believed without examination at a time. The man who asks this question daily and answers it honestly, without armor, without performance, without defense, that man cannot be destroyed by circumstance, cannot be controlled by fear, cannot be kept from becoming what he is actually capable of becoming, because he knows himself. And a man who knows himself is the most dangerous thing the comfortable, unexamined life has ever faced. Comment below. What is one story you have been telling yourself about yourself that might not actually be true? Subscribe to Unique Vision, because this channel exists for the man who is finally ready to stop performing himself and start becoming himself.